of Gupshup with Gayatri, old world conversations with new age technology. As many of you know, Gupshup is a series of light and casual conversations on topical issues with domain experts. But light does not mean it's flippant. Casual does not make it frivolous. Gupshup is not gossip. Gupshup started off primarily as a way of beating the lockdown blues by interviewing successful LSR alumni. The first edition was on the 28th of June with Anu Singh Chaudhary, the award winning journalist and writer of the web series Arya starring Sushmita Sen. But thereafter, Gupshup took a life of its own. It's a chat in the company of family and friends in the age of social distancing. It's an endeavor to start conversations because these days we don't talk to each other, we debate, and debates can be toxic. Does that mean that no uncomfortable questions will be asked? They will, but not in the nation wants to know, Bharat puchta hai kind of way. Gupshup is broad in its scope, but what makes it truly unique is the interactive nature of the audience. The audience is empowered to ask questions both during and after the conversation. So send us your thoughts, comments, queries in the chat box, and remember to keep yourselves on mute to prevent any technical glitches. Let's now turn to our guest for this very special edition. Our guest today is one of the most inspiring women I've ever met. She's ebullient and dynamic, courageous and hardworking, unfazed at life's challenges. She radiates positivity and happiness wherever she goes. She's the regional head, India and South Asia at the Max Foundation, headquartered in Seattle. She's also the executive committee member of the Marrow Donor Registry India and the Terry Fox India Committee. Viji Venkatesh, it's an absolute privilege and honor to have you today on Gupshup with Gayatri. Welcome.
Thank you, Gayatri. The honor is mine, the privilege is mine, and I'm like totally delighted to be on this show. Absolute fan of yours, and I think it's very much an honor to be on this show. Thank you so much.
Okay. Viji, you have nearly 35 years in cancer patient care and support. Can you tell us about the work you do?
Wow. It's my work is what defines me actually. Now that I'm approaching 70 in like a year and a half, people have been asking me, Viji, are you going to stop working? And I have found myself saying that, how can I stop working? Because my work is me. My work is me. I started in 1987. I started by raising funds for a non-profit, a cancer non-profit. And when I say raising funds, my job was to collect advertisements for the souvenir the non-profit was bringing out. So I remember walking up and down the stairs in old offices, going to small little business units, and telling them if they would like to place an advertisement in the souvenir. Believe me, unless you go out asking for funds, you never know how difficult it is. My work eventually became very focused on cancer awareness, promoting the concept of early detection, encouraging women to have pap smears and breast self-examination, and tobacco counseling and awareness amongst the in the workplace. Because we used to go to mills and factories, and we used to go on payday, and we used to sit in their canteens and in their union offices. And these mill workers and factory workers who would earn something like 1,200 or 1,800 rupees, they would actually give us 25 rupees, 50 rupees each, when we told them that what they donated would go to the welfare of a cancer patient. And during that time, it was very important. I felt that we had to give something back to these workers. And that was when I thought, why not do, in return for what they're doing, why not do sessions on cancer awareness? And they were all into tobacco. They were all into chewing tobacco. I remember talking to the welfare officer, to the union leaders, and telling them that, if you can give us the canteen in this mill, or if you can allow us to sit in the compound in that factory. I want to talk to your workers, and maybe on a Saturday morning you could get the workers to bring their wives along, so we could talk to them also. And I rustled up a team of amazing physicians who would give us their free time in in between their morning consulting, evening surgery. They would come, and we started doing early detection camps for this high risk population. That's how I started. And of course, once I knew nothing about cancer, Gayatri, when I joined this nonprofit. My husband and I, and we had two small children. My children were very young at that time. We came back to India after living in South America and North America, Venezuela, and in the United States. And we came back, and it was the most difficult time of that decade. And we were desperate. We needed a job. We lost all our money in Venezuela, by the way. So we needed, and
So, Viji, you've gone on mute. Yeah.
Now is it all right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would never have thought myself to be this work. I was very happy, being this homemaker, looking after the kids. But then at that point in time, one had to step out and do something. And all I had was my degree in English literature from Lady Sri Ram College. That's all I had, and that too a bachelor's degree. And at that time, it was very difficult to get a job. But when I got this job, I said I must make the most of it. And like I said, I had no idea what cancer was, and I discovered the British Council Library. That is something I miss. I know all of us, who were regular members of the library. So I so miss that library. I would go there and I would bring books on cancer, read them up, and then,
So this was the British Council Library in Mumbai.
Yeah, in Nariman Point.
Yeah.
And I used to live in Vashi in those days. I used to live in New Bombay, and it's not the New Bombay that it is now. There was no station, there was no BEST buses, there were no trains from there. So it was taking some state transport bus to Mankhurd, getting onto the train with a whole lot of fisherwomen. How much they taught me. They taught me that you can be impeccably dressed in your saris and go to work. They taught me how you can give space to other people. It was an amazing experience. And to come back to my, how I learned about cancer was then after doing this prevention awareness work in mills and factories, Tata Hospital approached the organization I was working with, and I was deputed to help set up the preventive oncology in Tata Memorial Hospital. So I spent 3 years there. And I think that was where, cancer really became the central focus of my I learned so much. Amazing doctors, amazing staff. And so the idea was to bring a high risk population. And because the most common cancers in our country can be detected early, and because we know the causative factors, Gayatri, they can actually be prevented from occurring. But it's sad that these are the most common cancers, and they're detected very late, and when really nothing can be done. So that's how I found myself in the midst of working in cancer.
So, I mean, humble beginnings. That you were forced to. You were a housewife. You'd been married. You had 2 kids. You
Absolutely.
had to look for a job.
I had never ever thought.
A professional career, but you had the grit and the determination.
Yeah, absolutely. Because at that time you feel I'm not saying you feel diminished or anything, but when you want to do something and you find that you're not able to, and I think what really helped me was that it is Bombay that I was living in, and I'm still living in
Bombay allowed you to be you.
Exactly. This city can draw you into its vortex. Okay, it can really it's pretty unforgiving, but it doesn't take away your individuality from you. It doesn't do that. Nobody till today in Bombay has asked me, "Acha, aapke minister kya karte hain?" Nobody has ever asked me, whether it was a union leader or a labor officer or a welfare officer or anybody. You know, they take you at face value, and if you want to do something, you can prove that you can do something. I mean, Bombay is a city where I could catch a bus at any time of the day or night. I used to go to all these industrial places like Rasaini and Balcom and Kolshet, and I used to kind of figure out which is the state transport bus that would take me, and it was fun. It was amazing because I kind of that was flight, you know, that was really like freedom and being able to go out and do something, and then realize that you're actually, you know, in an area of work which is vitally important to the community at large.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. I mean, so coming back to cancer, Viji, according to a WHO report published in February this year by it was by Dr. Tedros of the WHO, he says 1 in 10 Indians will get cancer, and 1 in 15 Indians will die from it. Is the situation really that alarming?
Situation is very, very alarming. I would say that we should sit up and take good notice of this. And for more than 2 or 3 decades, we are being told in this part of the country where resources are minimum, that is where the maximum cancers are being detected. Uh, Earlier, it used to be cervical cancer and head and neck cancers because of the tobacco chewing habits. And tobacco, you know, we chew tobacco, we inhale tobacco, we apply tobacco, we smoke it. I mean, we do everything that's possible with tobacco. But today we have what was predominantly accepted as a Western woman's cancer, breast cancer. It's. I mean, I um, I I can't even begin to tell you that the number of help cases, the number of calls I get are 98% of these calls are from women who have been diagnosed with breast cancer. Women who are not even in the high risk profile for breast cancer. And we are having other cancers too. We are having lung cancer. We are having cancers of. We are having cancers of the digestive tract. We are having a whole lot of
What
cancers.
explains this upsurge, or are we just, do people, is there more awareness around it? That's why it's being diagnosed, or
Yes, definitely there is more awareness. There are better methods of diagnosis. And our lifestyle is high risk. Our lifestyle is a causative factor. Our diet has gone haywire, obesity, late age at marriage for women, not enough breastfeeding, and tobacco habit again and again, tobacco in all forms. And Gayatri, social stigma. This is something which um, the other day, this was actually in Kathmandu at a cancer conference a year and a half ago. We were at the American ambassador, who was the like, he was kind of, you know, hosting all the experts who had gone to speak. And so when I said that stigma is definitely something that is a very, very valid, very pertinent issue, one of the surgeons who was there from India said, "Viji, do you really think so? We thought there's so much more awareness, and actually, you know, it is a fact. People don't want to talk about cancer. People don't want others to know they have cancer within the family, within extended family, neighbors. Madam, aap hame phone mat kijiyega, hum phone karenge aapko. My children are. I don't want my children to know I have cancer. I don't want my wife to know she has cancer, because then my mother and my father are going to get really upset. What will the family say? Cancer is still viewed as a punishment, as कुछ किया होगा, उसके अभी हम भुगत रहे हैं. And believe me, it's not just people who are not educated. I have honestly found in all these years of working in cancer, जितना ज़्यादा पढ़ा लिखा, उतना ज़्यादा mental blocks.
oh,
Yeah,
so
and
it's
then there's
not freeing the mind here; it's making you more
absolutely. And I'm saying this, you know, on a public platform, on public domain. But yes, misconceptions, myths surrounding cancer, stigma, lack of awareness, lack of education, unwillingness to accept, a sense of fatalism. See, when there's loss, when there's grief, you go through these stages, 5 stages: anger, grief, denial, bargaining, and last comes acceptance.
Acceptance. Yeah.
But that acceptance has to come from understanding. Unless it comes from understanding, it's no good.
So, Viji, in such a situation where, a family, someone in the family has been diagnosed with cancer, what is the best approach? What is the best
Honesty,
approach to take?
honesty, directness, no sugarcoating at all. But at the same time, there is no need to be harsh, or there's no need to bulldoze through it. You have to have compassion. You have to be able to explain to the family what a diagnosis of cancer means, that today there is treatment, and that's a fact. We've come, and today Indian treatment centers, Indian oncologists are on par with international level. We have there was a time when there was only Tata Memorial Hospital. There was a time when you used to see people coming from all over the country to Tata Memorial Hospital. Today, every state has its own cancer institute, government run as well as private institutions. AIMS, is being set up in so many. I've been to AIMS in Patna, which is amazing, amazing. And I tell you, the team that works there, they are simply, they have to be seen to be believed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's time we stop putting ourselves.
Patna and Bihar.
Yeah, really, I'm telling you. I tell you, I go. My work takes me to almost every town in India. My work now, I work with the Max Foundation, which, like you said, is headquartered in Seattle. Our work is providing access to medication that is otherwise not available to patients who are not able to afford it. We work with pharma companies and request them to give humanitarian donations. And then we identify patients who will benefit from the drug, and that's what we do. So we have around close to 22,000 patients who are on our program, and these patients come from all over the region. And when I say region, I mean Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, India. We did have a program in Pakistan till a few years, but now the government has started giving medication to the patients in Pakistan. So our program there is halted for now, because the government there's access for the patients. So what I started to say was, I am in one city or town every month of the year. Of course, these last 8 months, it has not been possible because of the pandemic. So whether it is Patna, whether it is Bhubaneswar, whether it is Madurai, whether it is Dharwad, whether it is Ludhiana, whether it is Baroda, any town you name it, we have patients there, and we go and do patient support group meetings, because these are patients who are on a specific kind of protocol for two very rare cancers, and they have to be on this drug lifelong. So that's actually 80% of my work is working with these patients. They have two rare cancers, and there is this drug that if they take one pill a day, they keep that disease at bay. It's like converting a fatal cancer into a chronic, manageable condition. So these patients are, I've formed a support group for these patients. We call the group Friends of Max. Many people ask me, Gayatri, when I say Max Foundation, oh, Max Coupa or Max Specialty Hospitals. Max was a young child who died of this particular cancer, and his parents had set up this little
Foundation,
non-profit, in his memory, to help other patients and other families. They originally came from Argentina, so they came to North America looking for treatment options, and so then initially our work was for children. Very initially it was only for Hispanic, but then now of course it's like broadened, and we're all over the country now. So this is so the support group that we formed put together patients, family members, caregivers, and this is something which was it was not very common in India, support groups for cancer patients.
Which
but
is
now,
which is my
yes.
next question, Viji. So in case there is, someone, you have a family member who's suffering from cancer, what kind of support can the family do? What are the do's and don'ts? How can one help the situation?
Um, um, there are no don'ts, actually. There are lots of do's, how you can give support. Encourage the caregiver to talk.
Okay.
The family member needs someone to listen because it's a shock. Everything has changed. Everything changes once there's a diagnosis of cancer, for the patient as well as for the family member. For the patient, the role in the family changes. At the workplace changes. You become dependent on somebody. For the caregiver, you are expected to put aside everything and take care of the person who is depending on you. Uh, there's sometimes a sense of guilt, a sense of shame, and nobody to talk to. Uh, Especially today, we are seeing, uh, you know, um, when I grew up in a family that had, five brothers and sisters, an aunt or an uncle, grandparents, and so many people staying in the family. So many issues didn't go up even to my mom. A younger aunt or an older cousin or an older sibling would resolve those issues. But today we are in very small families, the nuclear families. We don't have anyone to go to. We really don't have anyone to go to. So that's so being there and giving a ear, just listening, is so important. And telling the caregiver, telling the patient that it is all right, it is okay. It is okay to cry. It is okay to express yourself. It is okay to feel fear. It is okay to feel confused. And to give some very simple, basic advice is that they have to follow their physician. They have to have faith, because many times patients and family members like to go for more than one opinion. Let's go to this doctor. Somebody say, go and see that doctor. Go and see this doctor. It's very important to have faith in your treating physician. It's very, very important. It's very, very important.
You can do the recce, but once you start the treatment,
Yeah,
have
absolutely,
faith.
absolutely,
And
absolutely.
Viji,
Yeah.
in case, I mean, here we are talking of, a caregiver, but what about a cancer patient himself or herself? What would you say to someone who's just been diagnosed? What is the best way of dealing with this?
There is no best way. There is no right way. The patient tells us. Actually, with every patient that I have dealt with, I wait for the patient to talk to me. I have to listen for the buried question. And the patient leads the way. The patient tells me what he or she wants me to do, how he or she wants me to support him. There is no way I can impose my thinking, my opinions. I cannot say, nee, nee, this is not it. This is what you have to do. See, the patient, because somebody becomes a patient, doesn't stop being who that person is. Cancer doesn't change you, doesn't stop you from being who you are. It is just something you have to factor into your being. So it doesn't change a person. We do end up by thinking that a patient is in some way, a person is in some way diminished or changed because he or she is diagnosed with cancer. At that identity, that individuality, sometimes we allow the diagnosis to tamper with it, and that is not the case. And like I said earlier, there is no such entity as a paralikha person or a non-paralikha person. We all have that native intelligence within us, and we have to allow the patient to tell us what is he or she in need of. One very important thing is that patients have rights. Many patients don't even know that they have rights. The patient has the right to do so many things, to the right information, to prompt treatment, to choose his or her physician, to whether to share the information with somebody or not. Uh, Most important right of the patient needs to know that he or she has been diagnosed with a life-threatening or a life-altering or a life-limiting disease. That is very, very important.
Okay. We'll take an audience question here. There's a question about health insurance. Cancer is a very expensive disease. I mean, the treatment is very expensive. So, is there it's important to have an insurance, and can you recommend any health insurance that covers cancer?
there's always the fine print in all insurance policies, and it cancer treatment is exorbitant. Cancer treatment is very, very expensive. Till today, we really don't have any insurance policy that will cover the complete length of the treatment. And then it depends from cancer to cancer. Um, there are for patients from the below poverty line, and patients who get treated at the general OPD, many of the institutions take care of a whole lot of expenses, the segment of society that gets caught without funding is actually the middle class or the upper middle class. If you are a government servant, if you're in the armed forces, if you have been an employee of the public sector undertakings, then you're taken care of, but otherwise you're not. Cancer treatment is always out-of-pocket expenses. Till today, there are no insurance policies that really cover everything. No.
Okay, that's the feedback then. I mean, maybe
yeah,
you should have, insurance.
The patients I work with, they're a unique set of patients. They are they look like you and me. They are under this treatment, and but they are not able to get insurance because for anything else also, because this is a pre-existing condition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which brings me to another very tricky question, if I may say. I've heard many doctors lament that, cancer, kind of a lot of the donation that flows in goes into cancer care. But say a disease like tuberculosis in India, where, in about 2019, WHO said there were 24 lakh TB patients, much more than the number of cancer patients, which stood at some 18 lakhs. But tuberculosis, the treatment or care does not get the same kind of
so many other diseases, many diseases don't they cancer somehow people think that cancer somehow tugs more at heartstrings, and to be honest, you have to be so wary about exploiting your patient when you put up a patient as a show and tell case. And I myself raise funds. All of our ELSA friends are aware of it. I myself do a fundraiser called Try for Cancer. You have to be extremely careful that you do not exploit your patients, that you tell your donor what is it you're raising funds for, and make it very transparent and make it very clear where the money is going. But I do think that Gayatri, if I were working in spastics, or if I were working in tuberculosis, or if I was working in adoption, believe me, I would raise funds with as much of passion as I do for cancer. So I believe
general comment that somehow, I mean, a lot more attention gets diverted there, but maybe other diseases.
I think it is more visible.
Yeah, it is.
I think it is more visible. And otherwise, there are like for example, now during COVID, there have been small groups of people, corporates, bigger nonprofits who've been raising funds for so many people who are affected by the pandemic and affected by the lockdown. And sad to say, in these 9 months, cancer has taken a big beating. Cancer patients' treatment have stopped, diagnosis has been delayed. So it's bad for everybody. It's been bad for everyone. But it is a fact that cancer somehow seems to have been projected as the the ultimate in the ultimate, or that's not the right word, as the most needy area where because if you look at thalassemia, there are so many conditions. There's so many conditions for which you need funding. In fact, for any medical condition. For example, when I was diagnosed with glaucoma, this was a very long time ago. I've had 3 surgeries for glaucoma, and I don't have vision in this eye. And nobody even knew about it. I didn't know. I mean, if I had been more alert, if I had remembered that my mother has glaucoma and it's hereditary, I should have gone earlier. But then I started doing a lot of work in glaucoma awareness, and I realized that bus drivers, truck drivers, cab drivers, auto rickshaw drivers, so many of them must be having glaucoma, but they have no knowledge of it, and they do not have the resources to go and do their screening or to go and get it corrected. And I mean, it's like, it's
So then I have to say, Viji, that patients are lucky that they have you, that there's so much, you're there creating awareness, collecting funds. There's so many other diseases also which need people who are, committed. And
I also think we make more noise. I also think, I mean, mine is not the only organization.
That's the way forward for the other diseases also,
Mine is not the only organization. There are so many non-profits working for cancer. In fact, sometimes we tread on each other's toes. We are competition to each other. We go to the same donors. So it's very difficult. It's very, very difficult. And then when we have to turn away a patient, when we have to say, I'm sorry, we cannot help you. It's very, very difficult.
Okay. Yeah. So let's take another audience question. Okay. We have some certain comments. There are some insurance policies which are available for cancer patient, ICICI, HDFC. And Jenny has written that RCF actually has room for outstation cancer patient as part of the CSR. There's an important question from Amit Sinha. What are the top 1 or 2 things you would like to do to improve the state of cancer treatment in India?
That's such a that's a relevant, important question. What I would say is decentralize treatment. Make sure that there are specialty hospitals in the smaller towns, better equipped health centers in the rural areas, because patients have to come to major metropolis, to major cancer centers. They still have to come. And that is something which is a deterrent, because they have to travel so far. They don't have the resources. They just stay back and they die. That's a fact. Or if they come, they don't have the resources to come. They come too late, and there is crowding in the hospitals.
So decentralization, you're saying?
Yes, that is number 1 to 10. That is what is most important. Most important. And for all diseases, for all diseases.
I mean, even in COVID, I mean, if we had better primary healthcare centers in the towns and cities.
And this is very easy to say. I think one of the I'm not a very in the sense that one of the major issues in India is that we health policies differ from state to state.
It's a
health is not a federal issue. It's not a central government issue. Every state has its and I have seen
many changes.
I was working with somebody who was working in one of the states, and I saw for myself how when that particular ruling party was defeated, every single effort that was put in place by that party was completely negated, wiped away by the new government that came in. And that is what is constantly happening.
That's a shame.
That's such a shame, actually.
I mean, yeah, but health is a state issue. I mean, it's on the
yeah. So that's what it is. Yeah.
Decentralization, you're saying, is one of the biggest things that could.
Yeah. Number 1 to 10. Amit, that's what I would want. Yeah.
Okay.
And since he said 2 or 3, more awareness. More public awareness.
Yeah.
For every disease, not just for cancer. More public awareness.
Yeah. So on the subject of awareness, we'll come to film star Salman Khan. You are a trustee at his Being Foundation.
Can you give me just 1 second? 1 second?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Hope you all are enjoying the conversation. I mean, it's a serious issue, but...
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was saying about your association with film star Salman Khan. You are a trustee on his Being Human Foundation. Yes. And I have something in common with him, because he's also extremely proud of you, Viji.
Oh!
And I quote, this is what Salman Khan has said about you. I admire the work Viji Venkatesh does with cancer patients. With boundless energy and enthusiasm, she counsels them and brings sunshine in their lives. I've seen kids and their grandparents alike call her Amma. That's the level of affection she inspires. She guides healthcare projects undertaken by Being Human. They say everybody is looking for a hero. Viji is a real hero. End quote. That's Salman Khan.
Hey, thanks for reading that out.
Can you tell
Salman
us
is
about your
somebody
association with him?
I have known him for many years. I've known him for like 24, 25 years actually. His Helen, the actor Helen, put me in touch with him, and she said that she was present at one of the events we were doing, and so she said that I spoke about this to my son, and he wants to come and be involved. And so this was in 95. 1995. I was doing a program for breast cancer patients. It was like a support group meeting in Tata Memorial Hospital. My mentor from my fellowship in Queensland Cancer Fund, Jeff Dunn, was there. So we called him over also, and he was a young and upcoming star at that time. I remember Sunil that sub was there, and I introduced that sub to my counterpart from Australia, and I introduced Salman Khan as a budding actor. He actually told me, please tell him that I'm working with that sub's son. And that was, I think, during the time when Sajan was being made. So Salman till today has remained the same person I knew 25 years ago. Very, very humble, very gentle, very, very normal. So I took him around the wards that day, Tata Hospital, and then he gave me his number and he said, if at any time you want anything at all, just let me know. I'd like to be involved in what you're doing. And I actually would call him. He would talk to patients. Around 12 or 13 years ago, we set up Being Human, the foundation. And that's a very low-key part of my
So I mean,
whatever you want to call it.
What is so? Would you like to give us a figure on how many people the foundation?
No, I really wouldn't have any figures, facts and figures like that. But what I can say is, no patient who goes to Being Human for funding is turned away.
And these are nearly people who come from outside Mumbai, or they're Mumbai based, or
it can be anybody. It can be anybody. Salman gave me a call one time.
Across religion,
from everywhere. See, the aura of Salman Khan is so powerful. He's so popular. He's so loved. People come from everywhere. Hospital trusts send requests. Social service department from different hospitals send requests to Being Human. They run a clinic every morning, so patients can go there and meet the officials there. There was. One time Salman had called saying that one of the junior artists who has been with him since Maine Pyar Kiya was diagnosed with breast cancer. Saida Appa, I call her. This was many years ago, and so he said, we'll take care of all her expenses, but she needs to know to which doctor to go to, and she needs some counseling. And so that's my job. I take care of the emotional aspect and counseling them and guiding them. And Saida is doing very well. She's she receives every time she's admitted into hospital for any kind of procedure, she receives the support from the foundation. So Being Human also spends a lot of its resources, time, energies on children's education, eye problems for children, and heart conditions. So it's eye, heart, and cancer, and of course education. So that's basically what Being Human focuses on.
And there was also the story you told me about the lady in Meerut for whom Salman had sent his earrings.
This was a young boy. This was a young boy. He had osteosarcoma. He had to have his leg amputated. I got a call from Salman. This was many years ago, when he said there's he and his mother, the child and the child's mother, had come to visit Salman on the sets. The child was a great fan of Salman Khan. He was he would love Salman Khan's dancing, and then Salman found out that this child was actually going to be operated upon. So he called me and said, "Can you like go and meet them and talk to them, because they're totally shattered." And so that's how I was like the go-between this child. And in fact, the child's favorite actor is Akshay Kumar. And Salman called up Akshay. Akshay came to visit the child in the hospital. So after the amputation, the child went back to Meerut, and I'm very sorry to say that the disease progressed, and we lost the young boy. And then when Salman heard that I was going to see him, because he was really very bad, he This boy admired, this boy loved Salman. Salman sent his earring for me to take it with him, and this child died wearing Salman's earring actually. So I mean, so these are this was many years ago. This was many years ago. So there are many people like this who care, in the film industry, in the corporate world. Uh, there are people who care. There are people who go out of their way. They do, they give off their personal energies. People don't talk about it so much, but yeah.
All this work that you do, Viji, does it also drain you emotionally sometimes?
I mean, yeah, it does. It does. I cannot say it doesn't. It's bound to. I guess the brunt of it is borne by my husband, because then I'm this really very vocal, very loud person when I vent. But it's okay. I get it out of my system because it's bound to happen. I take care of myself. I keep myself physically fit. It's very, very important. The fitter you are physically, the better you're able to handle your mental, the mental blows. And patients exude a kind of joy. The patients exude this love of life, and they are so generous with their feelings, with their love for me. I'm happiest when I'm with my patients. I'm happiest when I'm with them. And I think it's when you're looking at when you're looking at mortality, your own mortality, your reflection. I think patients teach me to cherish and live each and every moment well, and live it happily and live it wisely. Okay, maybe not wisely, but just live it well. Uh, Patients die. It takes away every time that happens, a little bit of you dies with them because you've invested in them. They've become close to you. Textbooks tell you not to do that, but that's impossible. You have to move on because, like I said, the pain of loss doesn't go away, but life goes on. So you have to move on, and there are other patients who are waiting, and then they then when one of the group dies, you have to counsel the other patients also. You have to counsel the patient's family and your own self. Grief is very selfish. You end up by being the sole custodian of shared memories, of shared confidences, and you're lost. When a patient dies, I feel completely unmoored. Sometimes I don't go there. I have lost 3 patients during the lockdown, and it tears me apart that I can't be with their family. I couldn't see them before they died. Um, um, we've lost people, we've lost family members. So many of us have lost family members to COVID, and I just heard just before this started, my mother's family physician in Delhi, my brother, he's 63 years old. He died of COVID. It's unbelievable. It's unimaginable. It does take away. It drains you.
Yeah.
But life is such that you find something somewhere to fill in those empty spaces, to fill in those voids. Maybe it's another patient, and then you start your work all over again.
Yeah. On the subject of your work, you travel extensively, Viji, and you've been around the region: Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh.
Yes.
Yeah, you mentioned you had a very memorable trip to Pakistan.
Pakistan was amazing. Pakistan was amazing. मुझे लगा कि मैं अपने मैके गई. See, I'm a Delhi girl. I'm a Delhi girl, born and brought up in Delhi. Okay. When I came to Bombay, I hated it. But today I wouldn't live anywhere else. Like I said before, Bombay is, what makes you.
So Karachi. We're going to come back to Delhi, Bombay later.
Okay. Karachi reminded me of Bombay a lot. Actually, a little bit of Ahmedabad, but a lot of Bombay. And Lahore is Delhi. Lahore is Delhi. And the people are like, "Acha, aap India se hain? Aap hamari behan hai." The taxi driver, "Aap hamari behan hai." हमारे वालिद साहब को ताजमहल देखने की बहुत आरज़ू थी, वो रह गया. And they love our the Hindi music, our film music. They love it. They one of the youngsters, one of the young patients had said, "इतने बड़े मुल्क से हमें जुदा करके रख दिया." So they look up to India. And believe me, I was there both times. I've been there twice for 21 days. Karachi, Islamabad, Lahore. Not one meal time was I on my own, not even breakfast. They are us. They are just like us. And I went sari shopping, went jewelry shopping, did patient awareness lectures, visited so many hospitals, the Aga Khan Hospital, Imran Khan's hospital, the Shaifi Hospital in Islamabad, and then there's the other government hospital in Lahore where Dr. Zeba Aziz. I'm still in touch with the doctors. They're amazing. Same with Bangladesh, same with Nepal, same with Sri Lanka. We are one people, you know. We are one people.
Yeah.
And then of course all over India.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We felicitated by the Bihar government in 2009, Viji.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I was very proud by the health
Nitish
minister.
Kumar government, the first Nitish Kumar government.
This was in 2008 or 9, I think. Yeah.
2009. Yeah.
2009. Yeah. 2009. I was very proud. You know, of course you feel proud when your work is acknowledged, and it gives you you know, it gives you more impetus to go on. It makes you feel good. We all need positive strokes. And my patients were delighted because they were all there at that ceremony. You know, they were all there at that ceremony. We had just finished a large patient group meeting. 365 patients come for our patient group meetings. The hospitals give us their auditoriums. We have 8-10 doctors who come in, you know, who there's a question answer session, and then we do art therapy workshops, drama therapy, music therapy. So it was after one such meeting that the hospital had arranged. This is the Indira Gandhi Institute of Medical Research in Patna. They had arranged it was Cancer Awareness Day, February 4th, I remember. And you know, when a government takes note of what you do, it means good things for the doctors and the patients.
It's a big
so yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I can't rest on laurels that, you know.
But in
So I guess I need to do better now.
But in 2016, again, you did something remarkable, Viji. You convinced Government of India to reinstate the custom duty waiver on the wonder drug, gift of
Where
life.
did you dig this up from?
That's my job. But in
Yeah.
2016, I mean, you actually, got the Government
Yes.
of India to reinstate the waiver.
Yeah. Oh, I had to do the chakkar of all those offices, you know, in South Block, and I actually met with the late finance minister Arun Jaitley. It was very difficult to convince him. He did not get convinced. Actually, he dismissed me actually very summarily. But then I worked very hard with the revenue department and the home health department. And yes, they did waive the customs duty, because this drug is still being donated free. You know, it's being donated free to thousands of patients, and they all of a sudden brought duty back on the drug. So you have to. I'm very proud of that. I'm very, very proud of that.
Otherwise, the drug would have become very expensive and
very expensive. Yeah. I mean, it's possible that, you know, the donation program might have had to be withdrawn. Now we still have, like I said, around 20,000 patients on that program. Of course, now there is a generic, and the price has come down. Now the price of the drug has come down, so we no longer have new intakes, but those patients who are already in the program are being managed. They still receive the drug. Yeah.
Okay. Now we'll move on to your personal journey now, Viji. You've said many interesting things. Like on aging, you said, I've worked very hard for every line on my face, for every strand of silver in my hair. Would you care? What is you're absolutely so comfortable with.
Yeah, because
you don't feel the need to highlight, color your hair.
No coloring my hair, but I love to put kajal. You can see I love kajal, because that's every South Indian, you know, if you don't put mai in your eyes, it's like, oh my God. And of course, I don't do the pottu anymore for reasons, you know. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I don't wear my Mangal Sutra because I feel like, you know, I mean, there's no need for me to kind of, you know, announce, you know, little quirks we all have. But I love wearing matching jewelry, you know, my bangles. But growing old is a privilege. Growing old is such a precious privilege. I think, again, it connects me back to work. I know people who die early because of certain illnesses, or forever. So you know how precious that is. And yeah, why hide it? Revel in it. Revel in it, Somebody said that aging is cruel. I think somebody on Twitter said aging is cruel. And I said, no, of course not. How can you say aging is cruel? You're blessed to grow old. But I think you're comfortable in your skin. You are who you are. Gayatri, we are, all of us, we know who we are. I think when we are 16, 17, we know the persona, what kind of person. But then at that point in time, there are certain layers, familial, cultural, I knew who I wanted to be and how I wanted to be when I was 16. But I was, Ramakrishnan's daughter, and then I became somebody's daughter-in-law, then somebody's wife, and then I became, somebody's mother. So all those layers around myself. So growing old was so special because as I grew older, I unraveled, one by one, I unraveled all those layers. I mean, the layer of a daughter, when I became a mother myself, I was my mother's peer. Or then when I got into a comfortable place with my husband, with my in-laws. But the mother layer came off last. Until that layer comes off, you are tied. You are responsible for the nourishment of your children in all manner of speaking. So when I was nice, middle-aged, 45, 47, when my boys left, I found myself free. I could be who I was. And I never felt younger than what I felt when I was 45. Today, I'm like 68. And I think I've only grown younger and younger as I've embraced the years. I think everybody should do that. Everybody. There's nothing to be afraid of growing old.
Everyone who's here now, I'm sure they figured out why I love you. I find you so inspiring. Another thing you said, which is, I think, a very good template for working, when you said your working made your children great.
Yes. This guilt we all have of, making sure that there's, food on the table for everybody, the house is clean, bachcha ka uniform hai, lunch box hai, ye, wo. I owe it to a wonderful gentleman who was my husband's my husband's senior, Mr. Babu Nair, A.B. Nair, who told me, we came back, like I told you, we came back and we were, in dire straits. And he said, come on, just teach your children how to come into the house and make themselves a sandwich and go out and work. Do something. Your children don't need you like this. The boys were, I think they still are very proud of me. They're old men now, my boys, okay? Yeah. But I saw them become so independent. I saw them become so able to take care of themselves. We lived in Vashi in those days. They would take a state transport bus. And I got them admission in Don Bosco in Matunga because my husband was from there. He was so keen that the children should go there. So we were delighted when we could admit them into Don Bosco. And they would all leave home together, like some 7:30 in the morning or something. I think the boys left even earlier. And they would come home and they just managed. And my elder son left home when he was 16, 15 or something. He got a scholarship in Singapore and he went and, he's kind of looked after himself. The younger fellow is like, they're all, they kind of,
there should be no guilt. I mean, no remorse on the part of
no guilt.
Women. I mean,
no guilt. I tell you, and both for the man and for the woman, we need to have a life of our own. We need to have something that we can call our own. We need to be identified. I don't have to be identified as Vivek's mother or Vinay's mother or Venki's wife. I don't have to. Nobody needs to. Though that is what gives me the greatest joy. Being that focal point in my family. That's what makes me so proud. But I think, and maybe I've been very lucky that I've got all these chances to do these things. I've got these opportunities. But opportunities are there, yeah. Everybody has to find it. It's just there. It's out there for the asking, for the grabbing. I have two lovely women who come to help me in the house. They're both called Rekha. We call them Rekha Junior and Rekha Senior. They're working women just like me. They're working women. And you should see them impeccably dressed in saris and so brisk, so professional. But I have something which they don't have and I cannot grumble. I have someone who comes and helps me in my house. They don't have household help. So, anyway, we have to do this. And I don't think a woman should ever, stop having a life outside of her home role. I don't think so.
Great. Absolutely.
Actually, my husband is sitting right there. I'm sure he's pretty proud of me. I had to go and tell him, shh, don't talk loudly.
One last question for you, Viji. Yeah, it's nearly time. You keep on coming back to the city of Mumbai, saying the city of Mumbai gave you wings. Do you think that, the career you've built for yourself, it would not have been possible, say, if you were in a Delhi or a Chennai? Why do you say so?
See, it won't be fair to myself if I say that I couldn't have done this in Delhi or in Chennai, because I did work for like a year and a half in Delhi. I quit this cancer work because of burnout, and then I took up a project with the television journalist Saeed Naqvi, and I worked there. I used to take the bus, and I used to go. I did everything there, but I think in the beginning, maybe I wouldn't have been able to do this in any other city. Just go out there with nothing at all, to speak for myself, and go out there and make a place for myself. I think Bombay allows you to do that. Bombay is a place where you don't feel afraid. Uh, um, uh, Bombay,
For women?
Bombay teaches you the value of time. And Bombay is non-interfering. The Bombay person is non-interfering. Everybody is so busy doing their thing, and nobody sees you as competition. You are your own competition in the city of Bombay. Nobody sees you as nobody sees you as competition. Like in Bombay, there are so many cancer organizations. To be honest, we work together very well. We all work together very well.
Complementing each other's efforts.
Absolutely, we work together. In fact, today we actually have there's actually a Zoom call which I had to get out of because I had to be on Gayatri's Gupshup. So we work with, and it is the Bombay mentality is not a nice sounding word. It's the Bombay psyche, I guess. It's the Bombay person. But believe me, Bombay people are not really admired and liked outside of Bombay.
Yeah. Okay.
But no, but I'm no, I shouldn't say that.
There's a question from
people like us are making the Bombay person popular.
Okay, there's one question from Shantanu that your mother just turned 93.
Yes.
How did your mom
Yes.
influence you?
Mom, today I am what I am because of my mom. Because of Mainji. We call her Mainji. She brought the five of us up. She had a mother-in-law and a father-in-law to look after. She had a very demanding husband to take care of. She had brothers-in-law, cousins, sisters-in-law, one by one. She was, but you would never find her face. You'd always find her in a starched sari, always well-dressed, never a hair out of place, always smiling, finding time for everything,
That's how
finding
we know
resources. Huh?
That's how we know you.
See, that's a finding resources. We used to do ironing at home, and it was mom's thing. Okay, for every blouse you iron 10 paisa, for every pair of trousers you iron 25 paisa, for every sari 50, and that money would be put in a little till, and then that is the money we would buy material, and mom would make clothes for my younger sister, or make sari blouses for us. And we've grown up in my father was in the home ministry. We've grown up in really very modest mahal, as you say, environment. And in our home, mom and dad taught us to love books, to love music, to love people, to establish and enhance and nurture relationships. And we were like, we could have done with, so many things, material things, so many we could have. But we were happy. We were really happy. I think mom and dad really gave us, and mom today, she's so proud of me. She's I'm acting in a Malayalam film, Gayatri.
Yes.
And she's so upset because the lockdown has halted the shooting. Every day when I talk to her, she says, Viji, what happened to the shooting? When is your film going to be completed? She is so excited. She's so excited about that. And she's someone, when I look at her, the way she's aged, the way she's handled her glaucoma, the way she's, she fell, she had a fall 3 years ago. She smashed her femur. She's up and about on her feet again. So if she can do it,
Amazing. And so she said, now we know, what goes into, making Viji the amazing woman that she is. And there are lots of very complimentary things in the chat box, Viji. Your
Oh,
mom
I have not looked.
of my party, remarkable. Love your spirit. You are an inspiration, very insightful. And you mentioned music, Viji. I was just going to come. You know, you have a melodious voice. So, how about wrapping up the session with a song from you?
With a song?
Yeah, a song full of
Okay.
joy.
Okay. Okay. It's one of my favorite songs. Okay. It's the song I sang immediately after our wedding when mom had a potluck for all our friends to come and say bye-bye to us. And then, after I realized, so you'll all laugh when you hear the song. मोरे अंगना में जब पुरवैया चले, मोरे द्वारे की खुल गई खेवड़िया, हो सैया द्वारे की खुल गई खेवड़िया, मैंने जाना के आ गए सावरिया मोरे, मैंने जाना के आ गए सावरिया मोरे, छठे फूलन की सजिया पे जा बैठी, पिया है सोजिया में समाए गयो रे, कि मैं तन मन की सुध बुध गवा बैठी, हरे आहट पे समझी वो आए गयो रे, हरे आहट पे समझी वो आए गयो रे, झट घूंघट में मुखड़ा छिपा बैठी, पिया है सोजिया में समाई गयो रे.
Thank you, Viji. Thank you. Thank you. I couldn't have asked for a sweeter end to season 1 of Gupshup with Gayatri. It's been.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Viji. Absolute pleasure. And everyone who's here now knows, the remarkable work, your inspirational words, your thoughts. Thank you for sharing those with us. And once you finish that movie, we have you back on the next season to know more
Fabulous.
about that aspect of your career. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for watching Gupshup with Gayatri.
Thank you.
It's the last episode of season 1.
Thank you. I
Oh,
can see
thank
Mr.
you.
Ramnath Agarwal is there. He's one of my
Yes.
patients from Indore.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
nice.
Yeah. So I'll just say my thank you, before we
Thank you.
start all this.
Thank you, Gayatri. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Gayatri
Thank
and
you,
Viji. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Over
Thank you,
5
everybody.
months- Yeah. Over 5 months and 10 Gupshups. It would have been 11, but for last week, we have traversed a diverse terrain ranging from Bollywood and web series to beauty, feng shui, education, financial planning, social commentary, culinary history, COVID, and today, cancer care and support. I'm thankful to all my guests and my loyal audience for all the love and support I've received over the past 5 months. I'd like to end with a quote from author philosopher Jonathan Lockwood Huey. Celebrate endings as they precede new beginnings. With a promise to come back in January 2021 with new guests in the new year, this is goodbye from Gupshup with Gayatri, old world conversations with new age technology. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you.